Good morning and welcome once again to another very interesting episode of your show. This is Crossfire with Buhari and Ishoma, and we will be doing justice to the show as usual. We have a couple of information to bring across to you, and then we have a couple of issues that are debatable also. It depends on the angle that you are going to be seeing it this morning. But for me and Ishoma, we definitely will be looking at it more objectively as pro-Nigerians as we address some of these issues that we'll be bringing across your way. We want to say a very good morning to everybody watching us and viewing us wherever you are. And we want to promise that this show is your show. So get ready to be a part of it as we'll be throwing the phone lines open early today just to get your thoughts on some of the issues that we will be discussing. All right, Ishoma, welcome to the show this morning. How are you?
Good.
I hope you were not caught up in the traffic.
I'm trying to remain positive. Traffic yesterday was hectic.
It was crazy. You don't want to know about it, but it was just something I had to just put behind me. All right, let's quickly. I mean, we have a couple of issues to to deal with today, and we'll be looking at all of these things in their very element. We'll be considering them one after the other, and like I said earlier, it is expected that you let us know exactly how you feel about this thing. I mean, come May the 29th, the president-elect will be sworn in as the next president of Nigeria. For the next 4 years, the retired General Muhammadu Buhari will be paddling, the affairs of the nation. And so there are loads of mixed feelings here and there on some of the issues that it definitely will be meeting on ground. One very issue that made headlines this morning, according to the New Telegraph, is that Federation account revenue dipped 50%. It dropped by 50%. That's to tell you that there's every possibility that the new government coming in may meet a very, very bad, how would I put it, Federation account. If it is not dry, it probably is low. If it is not dry, it probably is low, or the government eventually, declare that they are finally broke. Even though the minister in charge of economy and the financial ministry in Nigeria, Dr. Okonjo-Iweala, said Nigeria is not broke, that we are rich, we have money, but yet we have debts that we have not paid, and we have workers that we're still owing, and then we have a lot of other sectors of the Nigerian economy that are suffering. All right, Ishoma, let's quickly go into the business of the day. Some definite things that the incoming government will be inheriting as problems or as challenges. Don't forget that when he was addressing, the transition committee, yesterday, he was telling them, he said, see, I want us to come up with a robust plan, the type that we usher in, the change that people are clamoring or are anticipating. He said, I want it to reflect in 1 week when we come in. I want it to reflect in 3 months when we come in 6 months when we come in 2 weeks. He actually put it, he said 10 days when we come in, 100 days when we come in, 3 months, 6 months when we come in.
That means
we should see every week, week in, week out, we should see something, new. Positively changing in a particular, area of the Nigerian economy. And that's a lot of work. Anyway, as we look at the challenges that General Buhari and his team will be focusing on or will be facing, as it were, as soon as they assume office. Number one on our list this morning is the general insecurity and insurgency. General insecurity and insurgency. The number two on the list is environmental degradation in the Niger Delta. And then we have decline in revenue due to fall in oil prices. We have pandemic corruption, that has eaten deep into the Nigerian economy. We have poor power supply. We have de-industrialization for the past 3 decades, de-industrialization for the past 3 decades. Then we have high level of unemployment. We have high cost of governance. We have erosion of public and social services. And then we have lack of development in agricultural and solid minerals sector. Now, this is about 10. For me, I think it is more. But we will wait. Exactly. We will definitely wait and get a lot of feedback from our callers and our regular, participators on the show. But let's look at it really very critically in their various elements, like I said.
Can I add something to the second point? Okay. On environmental degradation in the Niger Delta. Yes, I'm a Niger Delta and I'm proud to be one. But in as much as we cannot overlook the fact that the Niger Delta region is suffering vehemently. But I think also the rest part of Nigeria, the environment has gotten so bad. I was speaking with our guest yesterday after the show, and I was telling him that, have you not wondered why the sun has become so hot and scorching? In Lagos, for example, Lagos is not in the Niger Delta region, but you see, you can feel like they're cooking like a hot pot of beans over your head. Why? Our environment also, even in the southwest, it also has been degraded. Why? Because I was speaking with someone that you look at the importation. There are some of these greenhouse emissions which has been occurring over time, which the government has overlooked. For example, importation of second-hand electronic devices, laptops, TV screens, your kettle, your boiler. As long as they're not brand new, they contribute vehemently. Because they all contain, by the time you've used a particular product for probably 5 years thereabouts, they become toxic. They become very dangerous to the environment and hazardous to the human health. These are some of the things that result into cancer and the rest of them. And not only second-hand products, even new products. That's why you see foreign nations like America or Europe, for example, they have standards. If you want to manufacture a particular electronic device, you need to meet this particular standard. Do we have such standards in Nigeria? I don't think so. Maybe we may have, or probably they're not being followed. But then this still boils down to the Standard Organization of Nigeria. We have substandard products. At the end of the day, all of these things affect the environment, whether in the Niger Delta region or in the northern region or in the southern region.
And I think we should not give full concentration to only land degradation.
No,
we also have, the airspace, that is the depletion of the ozone layer.
The ozone layer.
And the
which
emission,
is key.
exactly,
and
so many of the
erosion of the
land
land also. Even the sea being polluted. How would you get clean water to drink? And if the seas and our water spaces are being polluted also, it will also affect marine life, which our existence is also dependent on all of that. So I think the general has a lot of issues, or it has a lot of work to do as regards our environment.
Anyway, in no particular order, all the 10 things we said: general insecurity and insurgency.
Yeah.
You and I know that. 2 days ago, we had a very classical, we recorded another very classical occurrence in Taraba State. The headsmen, the activities of the headsmen over the years has never been checkmated by any government. They do not only thrive in their immediate locality. These are people who, one way or the other, exhibit, a form of exodus. They move from one region to another.
Because they're nomadic in nature.
To get grain, for their cattle and all of those things. So they constitute a major encroachment into every area where they go into. And you can see a Taraba man who is a cattle rearer who probably, is migrating with his cattle to a particular location, and they get away from Taraba State into the southwest, into the southeast in one way or the other. Don't forget that most of the times they do not transport these cattle by road. They move them on the land across, the available land space across the nation.
And most time they encroach into people's
into people's farms, people's plantations, and all of that. And they don't give it them. I was privileged to hear a Fulani herdsman that was stopped somewhere in Benue State, and they were asking him, do you speak English? He said, I understand English. He said, why are you people doing this? And he said that this grain that you are seeing, that is created by God, is not for any human being. He said, can't you see cassava? Can't you see yam on this farm? Can't you see cassava here? And all of that. He said, all of them belongs to God. And you will be wondering, is this the reason why these people fight the lawful owners of this landed property? People who have seeded, who have labored, who have planted their seed, and they are waiting for harvest, and you just bring your cattle to that farm and they eat up and destroy. The ones that are not eating are completely destroyed.
Of course, because by the time they trade in, Definitely.
You know, exactly. And I think every government of the Federation needs to look into the activities of the headsmen. They are constituting a major. Do you know how many lives were lost in Taraba just a few days ago? Oh, well over 100 lives were lost.
Well, not just in Taraba State. I mean, there's so many unreported incidences.
If this is not curbed, it has a tendency
to blow out,
of blowing out, and eventually becoming an insurgency.
Very
you see,
true.
because you now have rivalry groups, people who are just naturally, poised to start fighting, against, one another, one group against the other, and all of that. And then another very major one is in the southeast recently, especially in New Delhi, where you have, cult members. In the south. You have, rivals, of cult groups killing people and destroying lives and properties and all of that. And these things are not properly looked into.
You have also the issue of kidnapping, also unlawful or forceful abduction and all of that. Insecurity in the sense that once it's 10, there's some neighborhoods in Nigeria currently that once it's 7, you can't even dare pass that route. We shouldn't be. You should be able to move freely in your own nation. So all of this all fall under insecurity.
Okay, don't forget that we're looking at all the visible challenges that the incoming government may be facing as soon as they are sworn in come May the 29th. And we gave a long list of all the things that we felt that the government may likely face immediately they take over. General insecurity and insurgency, environmental degradation in the Niger Delta, and like Isioma said, in so many other areas of the country, decline in revenue due to fall in the oil prices. We brought in a friend on the show yesterday, and we were talking about the oil industry. And you and I know that, you see, this is a particular part of the Nigerian economy that is experiencing the worst hit at the moment. There is a global oil price drop, and it's affecting budgeting, it's affecting planning, to reposition Nigeria to a strategic, to a strategic position that will make our economy boom and eventually translate into a better life, for the citizen. But here we are, the oil price globally, America, who used to be a regular customer, they've not been buying because they discovered shale oil, and right now, they are not buying, from Nigeria and so many other countries.
The truth is, the decline in the decline in the fall of oil prices, yes, we know that's a major factor. But I think if everything being put together, if we have a government that becomes proactive in the sense now that if our refineries are all working to full capacity, let's say 4 refineries, for example, before they venture into building
maybe not to full capacity, maybe 60% capacity.
60% capacity. If our refineries are working to, let's say, 60% capacity, and our oil pipelines are being protected, that you won't have issue of pipeline vandalization. And you now have, because if you know the amount of petroleum products that leaves the shores of Nigeria on a daily basis, unaccounted for, if you know how much that is, you'll be dazed. So imagine when we have a government that is able, that is more accountable. You're now more accountable for even a liter. Let me use it. A liter of petroleum product that leaves. Now you're also tackling, gas flaring. Rather than you flaring this gas, how can you capture this gas and make it, more profitable for the people? By the time you calculate all of these things and then you checkmate or you block the loopholes, despite the fall in oil revenue in the international community, I believe we'll still be able to make something good out of it despite the decline. Now you'll be refining rather than you importing already finished products. You'd rather be selling. And no matter how bad it is, Ghana will always buy from you. Many other nations will definitely buy from. So you will still make money.
The Republic of Benin will buy. Because I know they still depend.
So it's not just enough to
all right, we have endemic corruption. We have endemic corruption. We don't want to touch, poor power supply. Endemic corruption, for me, I think corruption is eating really very deep into almost every Nigerians. You will find corrupt practices in virtually every cadre of the Nigerian economy.
Very true.
your organizer is not truthful to you. He will see just one bad hole to help fix your tire, and because you are not there, you come back and it tells you that I saw 3. And that time you can't confirm any longer because it's already fixed everything together and it's put it back on your wheels. And then somebody walked up to me one day and he told me that, sir, I mean, there was just no nail hole or any cut on your tire, that it was actually the valve, that was leaking, And I was saying, for the first time, this sounds like, I mean, a very candid, sure opinion. Because no organizer has approached me to tell me I didn't discover anything. It was just a leakage from your valve. And I mean, this was funny, and I was not there. Yes, he told me this is the nail.
So they have patch it, and
they have pins, they have nails, they have bolts and nuts and things that likely can make your tire go bad. They have it just all around. This is what we remove from there. This is what we remove from there. So you see, it has eaten deep into almost every cadre of the Nigerian economy, and it's become cancerous. Do you know how cancerous it's become?
Oh, Daddy, we want to buy a particular book, whereas that's not true.
It is even become very cancerous in the sense that a very good person, somebody who is morally okay, morally fine, gets into a particular area where he's exposed to some of these, situations that we're talking about, and the person is carried away completely. Is immersed into it. And I mean, somebody once asked me, somebody who works with one of our state governments in Nigeria, a very close friend of my childhood friend, and was telling me, he said, if somebody told me that I will eventually get engaged in some of these things, I will doubt it. He said, but like it's been regularly said, that if you can't beat them, you join them. If you can't beat them, get other people to beat them for you, but do not join them. Is that your situation right now? But we're looking at all the challenges that the incoming government may likely, the newly elected government may likely be facing when they come May the 29th. We'll go on a short break now, and we will be back shortly.